Hello and welcome back to Gratuitous Space Battles 2. My name's Negative Roots and let's get cracking. Tonight we're going to play the third mission. Now I have already recorded this, but for some reason my OBS decided it didn't want to work. So I'm going to do it again. Now, this is my setup, this is my score, 40%, and it works. It's worked 3 times now in a row without looking dodgy. Which probably means you could go better, but I'm pretty happy with a score of 40%. Like, that gives me 57,000 honour to work with. So let's run through my 3 ships that I'm going to use, starting with the smallest. Now this is the Venom. If you've watched Mission 1 and 2, you'll know the Venom. It's a anti-fighter and point defense destroyer, tasked with basically dealing with the fighters that come and get us and the gunships that try and come and get us, and also any missiles that come in. So that's the Venom's job. It does a really good job of that. They're actually, because they're shielded, they do a really good job of shrugging off any stray shots, shall we say. Let's talk about the Hammer. The Hammer is a long-range cruiser. A long-range missile cruiser would probably be the best way of describing it. And it consists of lots of torpedoes, radiation beam, just in case anything gets too close and friendly. And is basically just a really solid platform. I used it in the previous mission to deal with that cruiser issue that I had. And then we have the long-range shipwrecker. This is aimed at dealing with anything that's further away. You notice that we've got eagle eye targets on it to hopefully boost that accuracy, because it's so poor with missiles. I've got 2 radiation beams, some plasma slings. This is if anything gets in nice and close, and these 2 nukes are just to get a little bit more pep in our punch. With the hammers consisting entirely of torpedoes, that means we should be able to siege down shields fairly quickly, and once we do, these nuclear munitions will actually do a ton of damage to the hull. So as soon as those shields are down, boom, this thing comes in and wreaks havoc. That's the theory anyway. So no, save. Now I've worked out why these disappear. When you don't save, it removes it for some reason. As you can see, it's done with the Venom. Oh dear. Can I load? There we go. So, let's get into the battle. Let's get it going. Let's get it cracking. Because I love to show you this. Now, I'll walk you through it. I'll walk you through why I've done it this way. My fleet awaits. Let's go. So, what we see is that rough kind of formation. Now, I'm working on the idea of being able to defeat them in detail. Rather than take on the entire fleet, get them to come at me as spaced out as possible. Have local numerical superiority as much as possible, and deal with each threat as it comes in, rather than trying to shrug off a whole heap of attacks. Now you can see that there are tons and tons and tons and tons and tons of fighters and gunships and fun coming this way, but you'll also notice that anyone they try and attack, they can't touch. Now there's a caveat here. If you lose your shields, you're gone in the blink of an eye. These gunships get so much poke. It is not funny. So, this is the second part. You'll notice that these missiles are coming in, but they're not actually reaching my ships. My heavy, let's just get the speed down. My heavy kind of point defense build means that all these multi-warhead munitions don't actually get to where they're going, and it allows me to keep my shields, which means that it basically zones out the fighters. If I can do that, you'll notice that I've lost shields on a destroyer, but that's okay. Destroyers, in the scheme of things, are pretty well, you would say they're expendable. you lose a destroyer, you don't actually lose that much point defense. Like one destroyer, right, one of these Venoms has 2-point defense batteries. There's 4 Venoms per cruiser. So you lose one, you lose what? That's 1/8. No, 1/4. Of course it'd be. So you lose 25% of your point defense for any one given ship. However, because they're so close, they have a tendency to work together, especially for anything aimed at the Dreadnought. Anything aimed at the Dreadnought just doesn't get to it, because it has so many destroyers to get past. You see that we're about to lose this destroyer here, but I'm not too worried about that. That frigate's been pushed out of the battle somewhat. You can see that the Dreadnought's actually after it right now, and we're ranging on it quite strongly. See, there's lots of missiles streaking in. You see that this cruiser down here and this one here, they're both going to try and face off against what's coming in. I'll just increase the speed a little so that we get through this battle, because it is quite long-winded. Because I'm not using that many ships, it takes a bit of time to defeat all comers. Now this battle is actually going poorer than it did last time I tried to record it. Last time I was sitting at 100% for pretty much the entire battle, and it was only when the Dreadnoughts got involved that they actually managed to remove a few of my... Oh, there goes the cruiser.
An enemy cruiser has been obliterated.
Wonderful. Yeah, it was only until the Dreadnoughts arrived and started getting in and that they managed to get enough poke to actually get rid of a few of my little destroyers. The Venoms, tough little ships. I really like them. They seem to be well built. And whilst the Dreadnought doesn't really inspire much fear, I know that this strategy is quite heavily reliant upon the Venom, because it removes the 2 main offensive weapons of this enemy fleet. So the fighters first and foremost, and then secondly these missiles that are coming in. By allowing us to fight missile to missile, we can hold the range open a little bit. We don't have to get in quite as close as they do. And even when they get in close, you'll notice something, that our shield resistance is too high if they start using beam weapons on us. So this cruiser, for example, 100%. It's still sitting at 100% despite how close it is, which is quite amazing. It's the destroyers that are copping the poke right now, and really I don't mind that, because the destroyers are defense only, and there's enough of them that if you lose one, it's not the end of the world. If, for example, we lost the Dreadnought or 2 or 3 cruisers, we'd be in a world of pain. But we managed to get the offense that we need. And you can see that these cruiser is actually just dealing now with these destroyers on the way down to getting involved down here. You can see that now these fighters are getting involved. The destroyers, the Venoms, again, are just taking them out as they come in range, and just whittling them down steadily. Because we have the shields, it gives us a little bit of time with regards to the fighters. You know, we don't have to wipe out all the fighters before they come in range, like I did in Mission 2, where I had that dogfighter cloud come out and kind of draw a line across the map where the fighters, we didn't let them get in close. Here we can let them get in close because they can't touch us while we've got shields. But we do need to get them out of the way in case this happens and we start losing shields on our capital ships. You can see though that we've just taken that Dreadnought out and we're at 57%. That means that this Dreadnought here is going to cop a lot of attention now. Because they're operating without destroyer support, it means that they're effectively just opening the door for me to drop the hammer on them. And by the hammer I mean torpedoes and nuclear munitions and all kinds of fun stuff. Basically everything that would be kids would like to have at their birthday parties, but the parents would never let them. There goes another cruiser. Oh yeah, 50 to 97. We're looking the goods right now. Once we knock this Dreadnought out, we'll be home and hosed, because they've got a bunch of little destroyers, but they're not really powerful enough. Sure, they've got some missiles, but there's not enough of them. They're not going to get through my point defense. The frigates and the cruisers are the issue. If you can take the frigate out, that's good. You take the cruisers out, game over, we win. There goes the dreadnought. Boom, straight to 37%. That's 12% of their fighting force in one ship. So there is a quarter, right? 24%, did I say? Whatever. Roughly a quarter of their fighting strength is in 2 ships. And I don't like that. I think that you can see here I've lost one, well, we'll call that 4 ships, and I've only lost 5% of mine. So I'm losing the right ships. I'm losing destroyers. I'm not losing cruisers and dreadnoughts to, trade here. I've just traded, frigates and cruisers and dreadnoughts for my destroyers. And if you're gonna have a bit of a loss ratio, you want it to go in your favour. You want to be taking out their ships to a superior degree. You want to be inflicting a one-sided loss ratio where the tonnage that you're losing is way outnumbered by their tonnage. So now this cruiser is going to cop all the pressure. And we'll just move down a bit. Frigates. There's another frigate. These frigates and this cruiser are pretty much all the attacking power that they've got. You can see we're at 92%. This battle's actually gone a little bit poorer for us this time around. But we've still got enough venoms that they can't really get the poke they need. Meanwhile, we're just doing what we want. We'll speed up now. Get it to ×2. Make sure we get through this battle, because it is quite long because of how it's set up. Because even after we wipe these out, we'll have to come over here and take out a few more ships. And oh, you see the shockwave had a bit of an effect there. Boom. That was hardcore. There we go. 2 more ships down. You can see that when you have local superiority in numbers, you can really just put the pain. See that there's still a few fighters and things buzzing around, and the venoms are just dealing with them as they come up to our little space. As they come in range, they just get dealt with. See now that we got frigate destroyer, these guys are just taking them as they come. And I actually did start the battle set up down at the bottom, but I found that there was a little bit too much poke, and the upper side plus the dreadnoughts were a little bit more unbalanced than the bottom side and the dreadnoughts. The bottom side and the dreadnoughts, they reinforced one another really, really well, because there was a few more frigates down south, and they got a little bit too much poke on me, and it just meant that I was losing cruisers and some heavier ships earlier. I don't think I've actually lost one this battle, which is situation normal. It will speed up now because we've got all their attacking force out of the way. We're at 14%, and that, ladies and gentlemen, is the battle. So 40% high score for this one. I think you could go a little bit better, but that would take a more time and a better design than I got. I think that beating 40% will be a good challenge, though. I think that's a reasonable standard. Oh boy. So you'll notice that my ships, they don't move too quickly, and that's because maneuverability isn't really important. I only throw it in there for, well, this phase of the battle really, and for station keeping for the venoms, to make sure that they're in a reasonable position to defend the capital ships against missile fire and also the fighters. Just means that this part of the game takes a very, very long time. Thankfully we have really big range, so that they're in, there we go, So you can see that they've decided that it's over. We'll claim victory.
Development mode activated.
Battle. There it is. So 40%. There's my high score. I'd love to see you beat it. Make sure you include a screenshot or video or GIF. GIFs work of you winning. I look forward to seeing you in the next episode. Until next time, see you later.